Looking back 1944, a peek into the past. Growing up in 1944, nurses showed new babies to their proud families. When girls like Molly were growing up, most babies were born in hospitals. Hospitals didn't allow mothers and fathers to be together for the birth of a baby. Instead, a mother went to the delivery room and a father stayed in the waiting room. New babies spent most of their time in the hospital nursery. Their fathers, grandparents, and other adults could watch them there through a glass window. But their brothers and sisters didn't come to visit because in the 1940s, children weren't allowed in hospitals unless they were sick. New babies and their mothers usually went home from the hospital after about a week. Sometimes a practical nurse was hired to go home with them because taking care of a new baby was lots of work. Most babies were fed formula that had to be made from milk, sweetener, and water. They drank from glass bottles with nipples that had to be sterilized in boiling water. Pre-mixed canned baby formula was new in the 1940s. But in some ways, it was easier to take care of babies in the 1940s than it had ever been before. There was canned baby food, and since most American homes had washing machines, it wasn't very hard to keep the baby's diapers and clothes clean. Still, clothes dryers had not been invented, so there was a lot of wash to hang out on the line to dry. Most children grew up healthy in the 1940s because shots called vaccinations kept them from getting serious diseases like smallpox. When children got sick with measles or chickenpox, they stayed at home and their parents hung warning signs outside their house. The signs told everyone to stay away until the sick person was better. This kept diseases from spreading. Vaccinations helped keep children healthy in the 1940s. Children growing up in the 1940s didn't worry much about being sick, but they had to face something that was much worse. Most of the world was fighting in World War II. Since nearly all the battles happened far away from the United States, American children were safe. But other children in the world were in danger because of the fighting. Some children were evacuated, taken out of their own countries, and brought to the United States so that they could be saved too. In England, families had bomb shelters in their basements. Because of the war, American factories spent most time making equipment for fighting and making things like toys. Toys became costly treats they were hard to get, so children like Molly often had to invent their own playthings. They used sticks, tin cans, or clotheslines to play games like stickball, kick the can, or jump rope. But children like Molly didn't spend all their time playing. They did chores like making their beds, helping with dishes, and taking out the garbage. They often got allowances of 10 to 15 cents a week for doing these chores. They spent their allowances on things like comic books and tickets to the movies. There were no dishwashers in the 1940s. Children enjoyed books like the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys mysteries, and everyone loved to listen to the radio. Children like Molly tuned into their favorite radio programs just as boys and girls today watch their favorite TV shows. Radio programs about characters like the Lone Ranger, Buck Rogers, and Captain Midnight were especially popular. Kids often sent away for free toys decorated with pictures of their favorite radio show characters. Kids sent away for free toys they heard about on the radio. A birthday party was just as important in the 1940s as it is today. However, parties were much simpler then. Most children had their parties at home with homemade decorations and food. Birthday cakes, ice cream, and candy were all special treats because sugar was in short supply. At parties, children wore dressy clothes and played simple games. An apple or a handful of peanuts might be the prize for winning a game. By the time girls like Molly turned 13, they thought of themselves as teenagers. During the 1940s, people began to see that their teenage years were a special stage of life and that teenagers had their own special interests. Teenagers danced the jitterbug. Teenagers listened to records in stores more often than they bought them. For the first time, fashions were created just for teenagers. Teenagers listened to their own music, read their own magazines, and spent time at their own hangouts. Teenage boys earned money by delivering newspapers and working in soda fountains. Teenage girls made money by babysitting for mothers who were working at war jobs. Teenagers learned how to drive cars and could go out on dates without adults being with them. Teenagers learned to drive. By the time a girl like Molly graduated from high school, her teenage years were over and she was expected to be a grown-up. She had many choices to make. She could go to college, get a job, or get married. Sometimes she did all three. Goodbye. I love you all.